should have realized that Elijah Thorne wasn't human. The signs were all there. The way he never ate in front of me. How his eyes glowed gold under certain lights. How he knew things about me I'd never told him. But I was so focused on hiding my own secrets that I didn't see his. Until the night everything changed. The night he discovered what Damien was doing to me. And decided that my abusive boyfriend didn't deserve to keep breathing. But for you to understand that night, you need to understand how it all began. 3 months before that night, I was at the worst moment of my life, and I didn't even realize how deep I'd fallen. I was standing in front of the bathroom mirror, applying the 3rd layer of concealer under my left eye. Damien had been careful this time. The punch had been in the right place, where clothes and makeup could hide it. His voice came from the living room, impatient, controlling. "Rachel, are you going to take all day? We're going to be late." My stomach tightened. Late meant another explosion, another night of whispered apologies, another morning covering evidence. "Coming!" I shouted back, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. Always cheerful, always calm. Never let him see the fear. I looked at my reflection. Brown hair pulled into a tight bun, turtleneck covering the finger marks on my neck, practiced smile that didn't reach my eyes. Who was this woman? I used to be different. Strong, determined. The girl who graduated top of her class, who had plans, dreams. Now I was just a survivor. "Rachel." The scream made me jump. I grabbed my purse and ran to the living room, where Damien was waiting. Arms crossed, jaw tight. He was handsome in a conventional way. Blonde hair, blue eyes, smile that used to make me melt. Before I learned that smiles could hide monsters. "Sorry, babe. I was just finishing getting ready." He looked me up and down, critical. "You're wearing that." I looked at my outfit. Dark jeans, beige turtleneck. Nothing provocative, nothing that could attract attention. "Yes, why? Is something wrong?" "It looks like you're trying to impress someone." My heart sank. Here we go again. "Damien, it's just a blouse, a tight blouse." He stepped closer. Invading my personal space in the way he knew made me retreat. "You're going to work, Rachel, not to a club. I can change." "No." He grabbed my arm, not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to remind me he could. "We're already late because of you. Let's go." As he pulled me out of the apartment, I blinked the tears back. One more day. Just survive one more day. Thorne Enterprises occupied the top 3 floors of a skyscraper in downtown Manhattan. I worked as an administrative assistant in the acquisitions department, a job I'd gotten 6 months ago, when I still had hope of building a career. Before Damien started suggesting I didn't need ambitions, but there was something different about Thorne Enterprises, something I didn't understand yet. The office operated on unusual hours. Most of the executive staff only appeared after sunset, including the CEO himself, Elijah Thorne. It was late. Most employees had already left, but I was still at my desk, finishing a report my supervisor needed by morning. Damien had sent 15 messages in the last 2 hours, each one more threatening than the last. But I couldn't leave yet. Not without finishing this. "You always work this late." I jumped, dropping my pen. Elijah was leaning against the entrance to my cubicle, suit without tie, sleeves rolled up. He looked younger like this. Less ruthless CEO, more human. Though, as I would discover, he was anything but Mr. Thorne. "I didn't know you were still here." "Elijah," he corrected, "and I could say the same about you." He stepped closer, his eyes falling on the pile of documents on my desk. Market analysis for the Meridian acquisition. "Yes. My supervisor needs to review it before tomorrow's meeting. May I?" He gestured to the papers. I nodded, watching as he flipped through my work. His face was unreadable, but I saw his eyes moving quickly, absorbing information at impossible speed. "You did this alone?" "Yes." "How long?" "About 6 hours." He looked up, and there was something in his expression that made me blush. "This is senior-level work, Rachel, not administrative assistant level. I like challenges. Clearly, He placed the papers back. "You're being underutilized." Before I could respond, my phone vibrated. Again, I turned it face down, but not before Elijah saw the screen light up. "Last chance. Rachel." My hand trembled. "Boyfriend?" His voice was casual, but there was something sharp underneath. "Yes. He doesn't like you working late." It wasn't a question. "He worries, that's all." Worry doesn't come with threats. My blood ran cold. How had he read the message so fast? It had appeared for less than a second. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't you?" He leaned against my desk, close enough that I could feel the cold radiating from him. See the gold flecks in his dark eyes. "Then why are you shaking?" I hadn't realized I was... I'm cold. That's all. Rachel. The way he said my name. Soft, but with absolute authority. I recognize fear when I see it. "And you're terrified." Tears burned my eyes. "No. Not here. Not in front of him. I need to go." I started gathering my things with trembling hands. "Wait." His hand covered mine, and I should have pulled away, should have maintained professional boundaries. But his touch was cold, impossibly cold, firm, anchoring, like ice that somehow made me feel safer. "You don't need to be afraid of him," Elijah said quietly. "Not while you're under my roof. You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." There was something dangerous in his voice now. "I understand there's a man making you feel unsafe. And that..." His eyes flashed, literally flashed gold for a fraction of a second. "Is unacceptable." I blinked. Had I imagined that? The glow? Mr. Thorne? Elijah? "I appreciate the concern, but this is personal. Make it my problem." He interrupted. "Work directly for me, as my personal assistant." My jaw dropped. "What?" "You're talented, underutilized, and clearly need a change." He straightened. "The salary is triple what you make now. Flexible hours. And you'd work from my private office, protected." My mind was racing. Triple the salary. That would mean independence, the ability to leave, to have my own place. But why was he offering this? "Why me?" I asked. "You have hundreds of more qualified employees. Because I want you." The way he said it, direct, no apologies, sent heat through my chest. "I need to think about it." "Of course." He stepped back, giving me space. "But Rachel? Don't take too long. Opportunities like this don't wait." He turned to leave, then stopped. "And Rachel, when you go home tonight..." His eyes met mine, and there was something ancient in them, something predatory. "If he puts his hands on you again, I'll know." Before I could ask how, he disappeared down the corridor, leaving me alone, with an offer that could change my life, and the disturbing feeling that Elijah Thorne knew far more about me than he should. I should have asked how he would know. Should have questioned why a billionaire CEO was so interested in an administrative assistant. But I was so desperate for a way out that I didn't see the signs, the eyes that glowed gold, the way he moved too fast to be human, how he always knew when I was afraid. I didn't know that Elijah Thorne was a vampire, an ancestral, one of the oldest still alive, and that he'd decided I was his to protect, no matter the cost. But I'm getting ahead of the story. Let me tell you about the weeks that followed, about how Elijah Thorne slowly entered my life, and how I, without realizing it, entered his. I accepted his offer. How could I not? Triple the salary meant freedom, independence, a way out. Or so I thought. What I didn't realize was that working for Elijah meant entering a world I didn't understand, a world that only existed after dark. I was at my new desk, just outside Elijah's private office. The space was elegant, dark wood, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city at night. Everything about it screamed power, old power, the kind that didn't need to announce itself. Elijah was inside, on a call. His voice was low, controlled, speaking in what sounded like Italian, or maybe older than Italian. I'd been working for him for 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, I'd noticed things. Strange things. He never ate in front of me. Never drank anything except what looked like dark wine in a crystal glass. His skin was always cold, pale, like he'd never seen the sun. And his eyes, God, his eyes. They changed color depending on his mood. Dark brown most of the time. But when he was focused, intense, they glowed gold. I told myself it was the lighting, but deep down, I knew better. You're staring. I jumped. I hadn't heard him approach. Elijah was standing beside my desk, jacket off, sleeves rolled up. There was something almost casual about him like this. If you ignored the predatory grace in every movement, sorry, I was just thinking. About. He leaned against my desk, close enough that I could feel the cold radiating from him. About how you never eat. The words slipped out before I could stop them. He went very still, observant. It's hard not to notice. We've had lunch meetings, dinner meetings, and you never touch the food. I have a restricted diet. His voice was careful. Medical condition. What kind of medical condition makes you avoid all food? A rare one. He was deflecting. I could tell. But there was something in his eyes. A warning. Or maybe a plea. Don't ask questions you're not ready to hear the answers to. I should have listened. Can I ask you something? I said instead. You always can. Why do you care? About me? I mean, you have $1 billion company, hundreds of employees. Why, me? He was quiet for a long moment. Then he moved closer, each step deliberate. You really want to know? Yes. He stopped inches from me. Close enough that I could see the gold flecks in his eyes, close enough to feel the cold emanating from his skin. Because when I look at you, I see something rare, not just talent, not just intelligence. His voice dropped. I see strength that refuses to break. Even when it should. My breath caught. You're too close. Am I? His voice was low, dangerous. Do you want me to move away? I should have said yes, should have maintained boundaries, but the word that came out was, no. A slow smile crossed his face. Good, because I wasn't going to. His touch was ice cold, but it burned me from the inside, and I was starting to realize that Elijah Thorne was something I couldn't understand, something I shouldn't want. But God help me. I did. Working for Elijah meant late hours, which meant Damien's jealousy reached new heights. He was convinced I was having an affair with my mysterious boss who only works at night. If only he knew how right he was. Not about the affair, but about the mystery. I got home at 2 a.m. The apartment was dark, but I knew Damien was awake. I could feel it. The tension in the air. The rage waiting to explode. And where were you? His voice came from the darkness of the living room. I flipped on the light. He was sitting on the couch. Bottle of whiskey on the table, half empty. This was bad. Working. I told you I'd be late. Working. He stood, unsteady. With him. Damien, please, I'm tired. You think I'm stupid. He crossed the room in 3 strides. You think I don't know what's going on? Nothing is going on. He's my boss. A boss who pays you triple. His hand shot out, grabbing my arm. Hard. A boss who has you working all night. What kind of work, Rachel? Let go, you're hurting me. I'm hurting you. His grip tightened. You're destroying us. You and your fucking job. Damien, please. You think you can leave me? His other hand went to my throat. You think your rich boss is going to save you? I couldn't breathe. His fingers were pressing into my windpipe, cutting off air. You're mine, Rachel. Mine. And if I can't have you? Black spots danced in my vision. This was it. He was going to kill me. But then his phone rang. The sound broke through his rage. He released me and I collapsed to the floor, gasping. He answered the phone, walked to the bedroom, and I knew. This was my chance. Maybe my only chance. I grabbed my purse and ran. I didn't know where I was going. Just away from him, away from the apartment, away from the life that was slowly killing me. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Come to the office. "You're safe here." How did he know? How did Elijah always know? But I didn't question it. I just ran. When I arrived at the building, the lobby was empty. But the elevator was waiting, doors open, as if expecting me. I stepped inside. And instead of pressing the button for our floor, I found a new button, one I'd never seen before, marked simply, P. Penthouse. The doors closed, and I rose. The elevator opened directly into a home. No, not a home. A palace. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. Marble floors. Art that looked centuries old. And standing by the window, silhouetted against the city lights, Elijah. He turned when he heard me. And the expression on his face. I'd never seen him look like that. Furious. Controlled. Deadly. "He did this to you." It wasn't a question. It was a statement. As if he'd seen everything. I touched my throat. It was already bruising. "Elijah, I just need a place to stay tonight." "Rachel." He crossed the room in what seemed like a single step. "Look at me." I raised my eyes, and what I saw there should have terrified me. His eyes were glowing. Not gold this time. Red. Pure. Burning red. "I've lived a long time," he said, voice dangerously calm. "Seen many things? And I've learned that there are men who don't deserve the air they breathe." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying you'll never have to be afraid of him again." I swallowed hard. "Elijah, you can't do anything illegal." "I don't want you to." "Who said anything about illegal?" A dark smile crossed his face. "There are ways to solve problems that never appear in records." "You're serious. Deadly serious." He reached out, touching my face with fingers that were ice cold. "Let me protect you, Rachel. The way I should have from the beginning. I don't understand why you care so much." "Don't you?" He stepped closer, so close I could feel the cold radiating from his entire body. "You're mine, Rachel. You just don't know it yet." The possessive note in his voice should have scared me. Should have reminded me of Damien. But it didn't, because there was something fundamentally different about the way Elijah claimed me. Not as property, but as something precious. "Stay here tonight," he said softly. "Tomorrow, we'll talk about next steps. But tonight, you're safe." I should have asked what he meant by next steps, should have questioned why his touch was so cold, why his eyes glowed red, why he seemed to know exactly when I was in danger. But I was so tired of being afraid that I just let go and trusted the monster to keep me safe from the man. I woke up in a bed that felt like sleeping on clouds, silk sheets, down pillows, a room bigger than my entire apartment. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then it all came rushing back. Damien, the attack, Elijah. I checked my phone. 23 missed calls from Damien. 15 voicemails. I didn't listen to them. Instead, I got up and explored. The penthouse was strange, beautiful, yes, luxurious beyond imagination, but strange. There was no food in the kitchen, just bottles of what looked like dark wine in the refrigerator. Every window had blackout curtains, thick ones, the kind that didn't let in a single ray of light. And the library, God, the library, books in languages I didn't recognize, first editions from centuries ago. And on the desk, a leather journal. I shouldn't have opened it, but curiosity won. The first page had a name written in elegant script. Elijah Thorne, 1724, 300 years ago. My hands started shaking. Find something interesting? I spun around. Elijah was standing in the doorway. Fresh suit, hair perfect, as if he'd just woken up, even though it was 8 p.m. "This journal." My voice was shaking. "It says 1724. "It does. That's 300 years ago." "Yes." "Elijah. What am I?" He finished. He stepped into the room. "I think you already know, Rachel. You're too intelligent not to have figured it out." My mind was racing. The cold skin. The eyes that glowed. Never eating. Only appearing at night. "That's impossible," I whispered. "Is it?" He moved closer. You've felt it, haven't you? Known there was something different about me. Vampires aren't real, aren't they? And then he smiled, and I saw them. Fangs. Long, sharp, deadly. I should have screamed, should have run, but I was frozen. You're a vampire, yes. He said it so casually, as if discussing the weather. An ancestral, to be specific. One of the oldest still alive. This can't be real. It's very real. He was right in front of me now. I've lived for 3 centuries, Rachel. Built my empire slowly, carefully, with the kind of long-term vision only immortals have. And Damien, his expression darkened, is no longer a problem. The words hit me like ice water. What did you do? What was necessary? Elijah, tell me you didn't. I eliminated a threat. His voice was calm, matter of fact. He was going to kill you, Rachel. Last night proved that, so I made sure he'd never get the chance. You killed him. I protected you. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting. I blinked, and he was right in front of me. I hadn't even seen him move. 1 second he was across the room. The next, his cold body was pressed against mine, his eyes glowing that golden red color. How did you? My voice failed. You want answers, he whispered, so close I felt his cold breath against my skin. Want the truth, Rachel? I couldn't speak, could barely breathe. He leaned in, his lips almost touching my ear. I'm not human, haven't been for a very long time. He pulled back slightly, letting me see his face. The fangs, the glowing eyes, the predatory beauty of something ancient and deadly. I'm a vampire, Rachel, and I'm completely, irrevocably obsessed with you. I should have run, screamed. Something, but all I could think was, that explained everything. The cold touch, the night hours, the impossible speed, the way he always knew when I was in danger. He wasn't just a powerful man. He was a predator, and somehow, that made me feel safer than I'd ever felt in my life. We stood on the terrace, the city spread out below us like a carpet of lights. Dawn was coming. I could see the sky beginning to lighten in the east, and I noticed Elijah kept glancing at it, nervous. You have to go inside, I said. Before the sun rises. He looked at me, surprised. You're not running. Should I be? Most people would. I'm not most people. A smile touched his lips. No, you're not. He moved to the edge of the terrace, looking out at the approaching dawn. I'm going to give you a choice, Rachel. Because unlike him, I believe you deserve choices. What kind of choice? You can leave. I can erase your memories of all this. Of me, of Damien, of everything. Give you a new life, new identity, enough money to start over anywhere in the world. His voice was carefully controlled, but I heard the pain underneath. That you'd never remember me, never know what I am, never be in danger because of me. And the second option? He turned to face me, and in the pre-dawn light, he looked almost vulnerable. You stay, knowing what I am, knowing what I did, and you build a life with me. A life with a vampire, a life with someone who will never let anything hurt you again. I stepped closer to him. And if I'm afraid of you, pain flashed across his face, then I'll spend every day of the next 300 years proving you shouldn't be. I reached out, touching his face. Ice cold, like touching marble. You're a monster. I know. A monster who saved me, who saw me when I was invisible, who cared when no one else did. Rachel, I choose you, monster and all. The look on his face, I'd never seen anything like it. Relief, joy, disbelief. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. I pulled him closer. I choose you, Elijah. All of you. He kissed me then, and it was nothing like I'd imagined. Cold. Yes. Like kissing ice, but gentle, reverent, desperate. Guy was the most precious thing in his 300-year existence. When we broke apart, the sun was cresting the horizon. I have to go, he said reluctantly. I know. Will you be here when I wake? Where else would I go? He smiled. really smiled, and disappeared inside just as the first ray of sunlight hit the terrace. I thought that was it, that I'd made my choice, and now we'd have our happily ever after. But I was wrong, because in Elijah's world, happiness is always temporary, and danger is always waiting. 3 weeks passed, 3 weeks of learning about Elijah's world. How he fed. Blood bags from hospitals, never killing. How he'd built his empire. Slowly. Over centuries, with patience humans couldn't comprehend. How he'd been alone for so long, until me. We were happy. Or as happy as you can be when you're in love with an immortal predator. But I should have known it wouldn't last. I was reading in the library when I heard it. Glass shattering. Not from the living room. From the bedroom. I ran. And saw 3 figures. Pale. Eyes glowing red. More vampires. But different from Elijah. These looked hungry. "Hello, lunar blood," the leader said, voice like broken glass. "The council is very interested in you." I couldn't even scream before Elijah appeared. Literally appeared. Like he'd teleported. And the sound that came from him. It wasn't human. It was pure. Primal. Territorial. The roar of a predator protecting what's his. "Touch her." His voice was death itself. "And I'll burn the council to the ground." The leader smiled, fangs gleaming. So it's true. The great Elijah Thorne fell in love with a human. He looked at me. "This is going to be fun." Elijah moved so fast I couldn't track it. 1 second he was beside me. The next, he had the leader by the throat, lifted off the ground. "She is mine." "The council doesn't care about your claims, Thorne." The vampire choked out. "She's lunar blood. That makes her theirs." "What's lunar blood?" I asked, voice shaking. Elijah's eyes met mine, and I saw something I'd never seen before. Fear. "Rachel, I need to tell you something. About why I was drawn to you from the first moment." "What?" "Your blood. It has a scent. Different. Rare. I thought I could control it. Thought I could protect you without them finding out." "What?" "That you're lunar blood. 1 in a million. Your blood can enhance our powers, make us almost invincible." My stomach dropped. So that's what this was. My blood. At first, maybe. He threw the vampire across the room. But now, he looked at me with such intensity it hurt. "Now I'd burn the world before letting anyone touch you." The other 2 vampires moved. Fast. But Elijah was faster. The fight was brutal, violent, inhuman. And I realized this was what he really was. Not the controlled businessman, not the gentle lover, but an apex predator, ancient, deadly, unstoppable. Within seconds, all 3 vampires were on the ground, not dead, but broken. Elijah stood over them, eyes blazing red, fangs bared. "Tell the council," he said, voice echoing with power. "Rachel Morrison is under my protection. Anyone who touches her will face me. And I've lived 300 years learning how to destroy our kind." The leader laughed, blood on his lips. "You can't fight the whole council, Thorne. They'll come for her. And when they do," he looked at me, "you'll wish you'd never been born. Lunar blood." Elijah's hand shot out, grabbing the vampire's throat. "Get out of my home." He threw all 3 of them toward the broken window. They disappeared into the night. And then it was just us. Elijah turned to me, still in full vampire mode, eyes glowing, fangs extended, covered in blood that wasn't his. "Rachel, I should have been terrified, should have run. But instead, I walked to him and took his cold, blood-stained hand. "Tell me everything," I said, "about lunar blood, about the council, about what's coming." He pulled me close. "It's going to be dangerous. I don't care. They'll come for you. Then we'll fight them. Rachel, you don't understand. The council, they're the oldest vampires in existence. They make me look young. And if they want you, then they'll have to go through you first." He stared at me. "You're not afraid." "I'm terrified," I admitted. But I'm not leaving you. Why? Because you're mine too, Elijah. And I protect what's mine. A smile crossed his face. Fangs and all. God, I love you. I love you too. He kissed me, hard, desperate. And I tasted blood on his lips. But I didn't care. Because this was my choice. My life. My monster. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, we've been preparing. Elijah has called in allies, other vampires who owe him favors. He's fortified the penthouse, made it a fortress, and he's been training me, teaching me about their world, their weaknesses, how to survive, because the council is coming. And when they do, everything will change. I thought Damien was the monster I needed to fear, but I was wrong. Because in Elijah's world, there are things much worse. And all of them. What happened when the council arrived? When the war for lunar blood began? That's a story for another time. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. Or at least, the first part of it. Leave in the comments, do you think Elijah can protect me? Or will the council take what they want? And tell me, would you accept the love of an ancestral vampire? Knowing the dangers that come with it. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2. Because what comes next is far more intense than you can imagine. Till the next story, if I survive to tell it.